the heck you doing sitting down? Get your butt up and train.
Good! Sir, please, I don't want to hurt you, man. I don't want to hurt you. Stop!
Let's go!
What's up, my YouTube people? Look, first thing I gotta do is shout out to all these new subscribers. I really don't know like where all these subscribers are coming from or what really sparked your interest, but I got myself to thinking today, and it kind of goes along with the topic of what I'm talking about on this video. And basically, you know, I got thinking to myself, some people subscribe because they like what I'm saying, and then you have other people who subscribe because they're getting true value. Okay, so for those people who are just on here because you like what I'm saying but are not really getting any type of value out of it, you like what you see, I'm kind of making this video for those type of people, not necessarily you, but those type of people. And I like to call this check your ego. Alright, because in reality, what you're looking at by only subscribing or liking my videos just based off what you see is really a bad thing, because really what you're doing to yourself is putting yourself in such a predicament that you're willing to learn or be taught anything by anyone. Let me tell you a little bit about myself for those that don't know, and for all my new subscribers. I mean, like, it's going, like my New Yorkers say, bananas. Going bananas. I'm getting like 5 subscribers a day, and you know that may be a small number for some people, but when I'm used to getting 1 or 2 subscribers in a week's time, I now have been getting literally 5 subscribers a day, every day consistently for like the last week. So I want to thank you guys, and hopefully what I am bringing to the door for you guys, or to the table, is something that is very beneficial for you and all that stuff. Enough of my yip yap, but what was I going to say? So a little bit about me. I am some years old. I've been doing this type of business, meaning instructing people, law enforcement, some type of law enforcement or military, for the last 16 years. Okay, I started off in the Army up in Fort Drum. I was with Triple Deuce Charlie Company in 2000, and from there I went to doing security work. From there I went to doing police work, got to fly the helicopter, got to do a lot of cool stuff. For the last 10 years, I have been doing full-time instructing and a little policing on the side, mainly instructing though. And that's why my passion is in instructing. Everything I do relates to the you at home. Now, let's talk about what we're here to talk about. So, background, got that out of the way. Let's talk about being a responsible gun owner. Now, I hear a lot of people in different industries talk about kind of the anti-importance of having a gun to do their type of work. That's great. But we all know that we have what? The rights to bear arms. But we also have what? The responsibility to know how to utilize those firearms. So although we might want to leave those tools or items at home while we're doing a certain job or a certain detail, that still doesn't mean we can't or we shouldn't be proficient with that firearm that we possess at home somewhere. Not only that, not only are you necessary to have responsibility for your firearm for yourself, but your family. I know you guys probably watched all my YouTube videos or at least seen my kids, and maybe that got you intrigued. But when it all boils down to it, at the end of the day, my kids know how to handle guns. Everybody in the house knows how to handle a gun. Alright, so it won't be any irresponsibility on my part or their part when it comes down to squeezing that trigger. Alright, so that's important and something for you guys to think about, because again, going back to checking your ego, a lot of people had this argument, oh, well, you know, 90% of the work that we do in bodyguard work is without a gun, and you know, police officers, I mean, just the arguments are just freaking retarded. But this is the only argument I have for you. Would you leave your gun at home if you knew you needed it that day? You wouldn't. So, if you know you needed it, would you be without the training? You wouldn't. If all the officers that have died from lack of training or lack of good training would have known that that was going to happen that day, I guarantee you they would have done more to get themselves prepared for the fight. That's your job, okay? Get yourself prepared. Now, again, you have the right to own a gun, but the responsibility to know how to utilize it properly. Moving along. This video idea really came to me in a setting where I was at the range with the kids, and I'm looking at this guy's target next to me, and I'm noticing that he keeps jumping on my lane, getting behind me. And this happened like last week. And so I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, man, this guy is looking at my kid's target versus his target. So my kids, they're shooting at a 3x5 card. You know, everybody knows what a 3x5 card is. Just a index card that you use like in school or whatever. And he's shooting on this big old silhouette target. Of course, my kids are staying inside the 3x5 card, while at the same time, he's with his girlfriend, and he's shooting all over the darn place. Now, I got to thinking, why is it that us men, or A-type personalities, or whatever you want to call it, even some women, have such an ego that you can't come over and say, hey man, I see what these little guys are doing, I'm pretty impressed, or not even that, hey man, how the heck are they doing that? Because my target don't look like theirs. But unfortunately, we are so egotistical and so wound up in our mind about something that is far beyond us, like thinking about, well, if I ask him, my girlfriend ain't gonna think I'm cool, or if I ask him, you know, how is he gonna play me? Guess what? That's not your problem. Your job is to ask. Alright? It's just like telling somebody no. If somebody asks you something, you say no, it's not your job or your responsibility to care about their feelings because they asked you a question and you told them no. Alright? The worst thing you can hear from somebody say, can you help me, is no. No doesn't kill you, but some people, for some reason, go into this ego mindset that I don't want to even ask. I see what I'm doing is wrong. He's doing it right, but I don't want to be involved with it. Alright, so, you know, again, people on the range, if you're not getting what you think you should out of the range training, that's probably because you're not. Alright? Make sure you get with a professional instructor who has some credentialed training. Alright? Credentialed training. Alright? Instructor training. And get some appropriate training. Alright? Because again, coming looking at my side of the range and not wanting to ask any questions out loud, it's nothing more than an ego thing. Okay? Call somebody else. Say, hey, look, man, show me the ropes. Now, again, when I talk about that credential training, we also need to look at the instructors. Okay? I've heard some stories out here and some people that are upset that they went through 4 and 5 classes with certain instructors and they still have zero improvement or very little improvement. Now, sometimes it is the fault of the instructor, but sometimes you also can blame the student, because remember what our job as instructors are. Our job is not to be with you every single day to force you to do something. Okay? It is your job to learn in class something that you can take home and repetitively do on your own, so that the practice becomes perfected practice, which makes into some sort of perfection. Not to say that it will make you perfect, but some sort of perfected practice will make you guys start to become much, much better. Now, again, like I said, I've heard stories where people have went to an instructor's classroom and 4 or 5 times and still came out piss poor gun handling skills, and you know, trust me, if it's almost like a child. If you keep popping them on the hand, sometimes they won't listen, but they touch that stove one time and realize that it's hot. Usually that gets that motor running. So same thing with an instructor. Slap them on the hand a couple times may not work, but if you really drove it home to them, safety, 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 this, practice, 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 normally it's gonna click. Alright, and whatever, I'm gonna leave that topic alone, but again, check that ego. Alright, what are we looking at here? Let's talk about the why real quick. Why credential training, and then I'm gonna leave this topic alone. I'll move on to my next video. My next video, I'm gonna be talking about this Smith & Wesson SD9. So be looking out for that. That's coming up next. Show you guys how to make that trigger a little bit better, and just give you a cheaper option for people that don't want to go out and spend $500 or $600 on a gun. Anyhow, so let's talk about the why. Why credential training? Here's why. Okay, and again, it goes back to checking that ego. All right, a lot of people, just like in our security industry, law enforcement industry, have instructors that believe that they are professionals in what they do. Why? Because they've been around somebody and they've seen them do it. I've heard guys that have been through basic SWAT school call themselves the SWAT, SWAT member. You're not SWAT, you just went to basic SWAT school. Alright, now, if you were in fact on a SWAT team, then you are in fact SWAT. But if you went through basic SWAT training, then you just went through elementary school. Okay, it's almost like saying I went to elementary school and I got a job. Alright, those two things are not synonymous together. Alright, obviously, the more training you have, the more grade school and high school and college you have, the better your position comes out for some people, correct? Somewhat like SWAT. Okay, not only do they go to basic SWAT school, but they go through other training. Some places, the SWAT training is like sometimes 6 months long. But again, off subject, but getting back onto it, credential training is very important because of liability. Okay, when it all boils down to it, a good instructor and a good instructor class has spent more time in the classroom teaching you how to do the work than actually teaching you or seeing how you shoot, if that makes any sense. In most of my instructor classes, we have set a lot of time in the classroom and less rounds fired down range. Most of my instructor classes, they have told me to bring 1,000 rounds, and maybe we have shot 500 at best. So sometimes you guys need to understand why you do things. And again, what it all boils down to is making sure you check that ego at the door. Make sure you get credential training. The responsibility of the gun is in your hands. All right. Don't just say I'm not going to carry it because it's not part of the natural scheme of things. No, if you own a gun, get some freaking training. Get some professional credentialed training from a professional credentialed instructor. All right. Make sure they know exactly what they're doing and what they're talking about. Yes, I've seen instructors shoot themselves in the foot. Yes, I've seen people mishandle guns that were so-called instructors. Yes, I've seen it all. Okay, I've been doing it 10 years, and guess what? One thing I can tell you, and I don't knock on wood because I'm not superstitious, but I've never had it happen in my class. All right, 10 years, no negligent discharges, no bull crap in my classes, alright, because I set the ground rules up front and we make you do it right from 1 to whatever. Alright, anyhow, y'all, it's been Steve. I'm talking too much. Y'all have a great one. Next video coming up is that Smith & Wesson. I'm going to show you how to change out the springs on it to make it a better gun without wasting money on spring kits. And that's it. Y'all know I love you. Y'all make sure y'all win that goddamn fight. Why? Because you got to get home to that darn family. Alright? It's your responsibility. Let's go.